everybody. It is Janet Metzger. I hope you're doing well, and I want to welcome you to the Network Marketers Den. You know, today I have a new friend that I have met, and I met her through Facebook. She's part of my group, which is called the Network Marketers Den, and I've become one of her customers. She has helped me a ton. So I would like to introduce to you my friend, Megan Louderback. So Megan, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Megan's going to share some great things with you guys. I'll tell you, she has helped me immensely. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. But Megan is a representative for a company. She is a makeup expert, makeup, skincare, etc. Of course, she is a network marketer. But what she has been able to do is not only help myself, but thousands of other people, because times have changed. We're not doing the face-to-face, so it's all about the teleconference, the Zooms, or whatever you want to call it. So everything is a little bit different when it comes to not only doing your business, but how you are the face of your company and the face of you. So welcome, Megan. I'm so glad that you are here. So can you tell everybody a little bit about you, where you're from and family, that type of stuff?
Sure. So I'm Megan. I live in Memphis, which is easy. You're M&Ms. So I have been in Memphis my entire life, and Memphis is just a big old small town. We are a big city, but you pretty much will bump elbows with people that you know or go to high school with and that kind of thing. Down here in Memphis, the first thing that people ask is, oh, are you from here? Yeah. Oh, where'd you go to high school? Or they'll say, where'd you go to school? And they mean high school. They don't care about where you went to college because they want to know your hometown roots. So it's kind of interesting to me. But I been here. I'm married. I have two kids from my first marriage who are 11 and 8. My husband has two kids that are 21 and 15. So we have a house full of people ranging in ages, ranging in hormones, the whole 9 yards. And they range in varying degrees of what they want to do with their skincare and makeup as well. So that's always a challenge for me because teenagers don't want to listen to their mother. So that's always
what do you know? You just do it for a living.
I don't know anything.
Now, is this your full-time job, working in your network marketing business?
No, I sell copiers for a living, actually, which has been a little tough during the pandemic. I work from home primarily, and I just try to build relationships. So selling copiers is a 3 to 5 year buying cycle, so it is a relationship building business. So I'm on Facebook a lot. I'm on LinkedIn a lot. I'm on Zoom a ton. I've joined several business networking groups where I help other business professionals kind of get linked with other people that might help them along. So, you know, for me, it's really about networking and about not just who I know, but that I know you and you know people, and we're linking arms. So now I know your people. And so that's really where I spend a lot of my time is networking. So
networking, sure.
Because of that,
in both businesses, right?
Yes. Oh, absolutely. And because of that, I'm on Zoom or, you know, I can't remember, Microsoft Teams, or Google has a, whatever they call their video platform. I mean, you name it. I have an app that's downloaded and I have done some type of video conferencing on it.
Okay. Pretty much every day. Every day. Oh, I know you're doing it. So
times a day.
Yeah. Well, I will tell you, you have helped me a ton with this whole idea. But clearly you're a busy woman, you know, with four, I always say 5 kids because your husband counts as a kid.
Yes.
Sorry to the guys, but it's the truth. And you got this full-time job. What made you decide to become part of network marketing? Why network marketing for you?
That's a good question. Years ago, I got into it when I went through my divorce just to kind of help offset some income, and I was selling jewelry. And then I quickly learned that if you're not selling a consumable, you're gonna run out of people to sell to pretty quickly. But I also back in 2005, I went to massage therapy school in my spare time, and I do that on the side. Yeah, I do that on the side too. And during COVID, nobody wanted to be touched. They didn't want you in their home. They didn't want to come to your house. And so all of a sudden, my kind of side hustle of doing massage dried up. And I didn't know how long that was going to last. At the time, my husband and I were trying to sell our house, and I just needed to get some repairs done on the house. And that extra income is what afforded me to, to pay for things like sending my kids to Disney and to having the house painted and stuff like that. And so all of a sudden I didn't have that anymore. And so I had been utilizing the line that I use, the skincare and makeup line that I use. I had been personally using it for about 4 years. And the girl who I buy from is a really good friend of mine, and she had been begging me to come kind of do this with her. And I was like, just let me be a customer. Like, just let me buy from you. Just don't bother me. Like, I just don't want to do that. And she said, well, I'm going to continue to pepper it across, here and there. And you are going to, don't feel pressure. But one day I think it's going to click with you. So one day she texted me and she said, I just want you to know who my customers are. And she texted me about 7 names, and they were all my friends because I had been telling, I had been using the products and telling them. And she was like, right. And these are big customers. And then when one of my friends decided to sell it underneath her, I was like, oh, wow.
That happens all the time. Happens all the time. And she could tell you all day long, but it's kind of like your teenagers,
Yeah.
They got to experience it, but well, good. So a great, a side hustle that now, regardless of what's going on with COVID and everything, you can still do it. And I know you've got a big group, and you're in there all of the time. And, that's where I discovered a lot of the different things. But, so you talk about being on, Zoom calls, video, like you said, everybody's got a different name for it, but it's kind of like, what did you say to me the other day? It's like Kleenex is a tissue. So we're just going to say Zoom just to make it easy.
That's okay.
But what would you say, if you had to, if we talked, let's start with talking about what you need to do differently, maybe with lighting. Let's start there because you helped me with that. So let's talk a little bit about lighting, some of the do's and don'ts to have a great call.
Sure. So, I think it's easy if you actually open your camera and you are on a computer and you can see yourself and you can see everything. If you're Zooming from a phone, I know that that's kind of a necessary evil, and sometimes you have to. You don't necessarily see yourself. I had a guy one time I was talking to, and we were kind of getting on to him. We're like, hey, like you're making coffee and doing dishes and stuff in the middle of our meeting. Like, what's going on? And he was like, oh, like I zoomed from my phone. I didn't know you could see me. I was like, really? Like it didn't occur to him that his camera was always on, because when we put the slides up, the slides appear in his screen. Sure. I was like, no. So for me, like starting with using this as a mirror, so don't overdo it and adjust yourself like the whole time, but do look at yourself, like is my lipstick out of whack? Is my earring backwards? Is something goofy about me? And be okay with, okay, like my hair is okay. Like I'm just going to leave it and be done with it. Don't sit there and play. And, there are some girls that will just sit there and they'll just do this the whole time. And you're like, what are you doing? So background is really big too. I am in a cubby hole, and this right here is my stairwell. Okay, so I don't have a whole lot of control of what's behind me, but I can control whether I have the light on behind me or not. I can control whether I close the door to keep sound out. I can control what lights I put in front of me to kind of cast something different behind me. Janet, you have a great wall behind you, a big white canvas. So you have put a banner behind you. That's fantastic. You have your name, you have your branding, and that's always going to be there. Some people like to do the digital backgrounds, that's fine, but at the same time, it can get choppy. And if you move your hand a certain way, you can see how it's, not doing things. So just for me, I like it to be simple. Don't have a window behind you. Don't have bad lighting behind you to make make there be a shadow on yourself. You want people to see your face just like you do when you're in person. You want somebody to look at you in your face. You want to get off this call and go see somebody face to face and them to recognize who you are.
Sure, sure. You know, Megan, when you and I talked a couple of weeks ago, I said to you, I want to change my background, because actually what I did is I changed the location of where my laptop was, because, you know, it was showing doors. Mm-hmm. Well, you know, my office is in my rec room downstairs. Mm-hmm. But that's why you inspired me to move it. But when it comes to lighting, you had given me a few tips. You want to share with our audience what you would suggest for lighting, the do's and don'ts of lighting specifically?
Sure. I mean, for me, like I have a makeup mirror, so I can flip it on. I mean, I can turn it off, and there's more of a shadow here. I can turn it on, and there's more of a brightness. So you can tell those kind of things. On a pretty day, I've got a huge window over there. On a pretty day, and that this whole room is filled with light, I have different lighting than I do when I'm sitting up here at night and it's all dark, or like today where it's an overcast day and it's kind of darker up here. So I have overhead light. I have lights behind me. I have a lamp behind my computer, and I just kind of tinker with it, whatever's going on. And then I look at myself and make sure that I have a soft light on my face, so I don't have harsh, like, kind of reflection, or, you know, where you almost look like you're too glossy looking or something, like you're just kind of working out or something. Too shiny, I guess is what you want to say. So you want to be soft. You want to not have a harsh light on you where like your spotlight. Sometimes those ring lights are nice, but at the same time, they can also be very harsh. And so if you're not, you know, doing it correctly, it can, you don't have to have something like right in your face. You just need to have something that casts light on you.
Right. So what I'm hearing you say is, when it comes to your face, I mean, you've got to have the brightness around you, but you want to soften it. So if you, like, I do have a ring light, and it's on right now, but my ring light has got the cools and the warms. So I have it turned on warms, and your point was spot on. The only way I could tell was by leaving my zoom on, and that was my mirror, and that's how I could tell. So having the warm light, but yet you still have enough. And to your point, I mean, if you're in a place that actually has a window, it's going to change. Yeah. So it's not, I'm going to jump on a Zoom call and, you know, it's instant. You should give yourself some extra time, which I know I do, because it's different. My lighting is different today than what it was yesterday.
Well, I have these lights up here in this little desk area that are like specialty bulbs, and they go out like crazy because I'm up here all the time. And so sometimes I have to pivot because I have a busted light bulb. So I'm kind of like, well, I just got to deal with what I have. I don't have time to unscrew all of this, to tinker with this specialty bulb, to see if I even have it. I might have to make a trip to Lowe's. So, you know, for me, I just try to, you know, like this lamp, I can move over here, and this I can move over here. And, you know, if I need to, I can go get something else. I have a lamp way over there with no shade on it, no lampshade on it. So sometimes I put it in here and turn it on, and it lights up this whole area. So, you know, you just have to play that. You have to figure out what your audience is too. I mean, if you're on some kind of call where, you know, it doesn't really matter, there's nothing worse than getting on a call and seeing nothing but somebody's picture the whole time, or their name. That just irks me to no end. If you're going to be on a call with me, be present, show me your face, and show up, you know? So if you're going to show up, you know, you might as well go that extra mile, that extra, you know, spend 10 more minutes and put yourself together. Make sure that your lighting works. And, you know, I mean, I don't care if you have on pajamas, but put on some earrings, you know, like put yourself together, like, because that's what you would do if we were meeting the public.
Right. Absolutely. And it's the new public. You know, speaking of earrings, that's your signature. You've always got great big earrings on, and I love it. I think it's so critical. And, but that is your face. And especially when you're in the business that you are, it's really, really important. Now, For adjusting of your makeup. Now, I realize there might be some gentlemen that are listening to this, or people that don't wear makeup, or whatever the case may be, but there's still some things that we should do, because to your point, the lighting, you know, I was thinking about it. It's not literally just flip a switch. You got to really play with that lighting. I heard you loud and clear with that, and give yourself that extra time. But what about makeup? How is that different?
Well, anybody who deals in makeup and skincare will tell you your good foundation starts with skincare. So if you do nothing else but get up and wash your face in the morning and moisturize, I mean, that's like half the battle right there. Because what happens is first off, it makes you feel better, okay? I've never, ever met somebody who washed their face and said, I feel worse than I did 5 minutes ago. They don't.
That's right. That's right.
It's a magical thing that happens when because that's like a old wives' tale too. Like, oh, go splash some water on your face. You know, well, it changes things. We talked about that this morning in our little meeting. You know, do something to kind of change where you are, go on a walk, whatever. So for me, skincare. You start with skincare. You start with a good foundation. Okay. I don't care if you showered. I don't care if you brushed your hair or whatever. I don't care about those things, because I'm not sitting next to you and I don't have to smell you. Like, I don't. Like, that is the greatest part about being on Zoom. You can be in your pajamas and you can not wear deodorant, and I don't even have to care.
But as long as you look good, right?
Right. Or you could have on so much cologne that usually I would gag at, and now I don't have to smell you. So it's totally fine. But I just try to start with something basic, very basic. Facebook has a filter, not Facebook. Zoom has a filter in your settings that you can choose that will soften up your face. Okay. I have it on. I always have it on. And you can be a guy and soften up your face. It takes away some of the sharpness of it and just kind of makes it a little softer, so that you look a little more put together. So
right. So the Zoom filter, that's a great tip. Great tip. So regardless of who you are, but everybody can wash their face.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Wash your face, throw on some chapstick or some lip gloss or something. I mean, if you're a guy, I don't know if I would go with shiny lips. But
my husband always wears chapstick, so that's okay.
Yeah. But I would just for me, being on Zoom, being on Facebook Lives, being in person, those are all very different things. If I were to go out in public with as much makeup as I have on right now, people would be like, ooh, is it date night? Like, what's going on? Because I wear a lot more makeup when I'm on an important video call, because that pops. Like, you can see now. I mean, you can see that I have on eyeliner and I have on lipstick, and it just pops. Well, if we're meeting out in person, I might use something, I might just use some tinted moisturizer or something, or some sunscreen and, a little bit of powder or something, and maybe some eyeliner and lipstick, and move on with my day. Like, I might not go to all these links to make sure that you can tell all my features, especially you see me at a soccer game. I look very different than I do right now.
Sure. So what you're saying is that your makeup, I realize it has to change, but it has to be more intense.
Sure. It's like stage makeup. Think about actors and actresses. Like, if you ever go watch a play, they have their makeup is caked on, and it's actually I think it's actually called cake or something. I mean,
cake makeup, yeah.
And so the company that I work for was founded in a professional makeup. That's the company's been around since the 50s, and that was where it started. And so it has the ability to kind of be that kind of thicker, more kind of out there, full coverage is what they call it. So say, for example, you get a sunburn over the weekend like this. I have my nose and my head right here are sunburned too. Not as bad as that, but pretty sunburned. You can't tell. You can't tell because I have really good foundation on, because it's full coverage. Right.
So more intense, like you said, it's stage makeup, because you really are on stage. So what about from a color standpoint? Because as you know me, I love bright colors.
Yeah, you're usually a red kind of girl. I'm surprised.
I'm usually kind of red, but no red today. Got to keep you on your toes.
That's right.
What do you do? What in terms of colors? How would one change their colors, etc.? Or should they? Do they have to? What would you say to that?
I mean, for a girl, eyeshadow and lipstick color is very personal, okay? They're either one that is very adventurous and they like to change, or they like their color palette and that's what they want to stay with and that's what they're comfortable with. Either one is okay. For me, there are three things that I like to have: big earrings, big lipstick, and eyes. So I like to have eyeliner, and I even flip on some mascara too. We have a really great waterproof mascara that has this wand that just kind of opens up your eyelashes. So I love it. I'm like all about it. It's not everybody's jam. That's fine. But if you put on eyeliner, you put on lipstick, if you just do those two things, you would feel different and people would treat you different when you're kind of colors. I mean, I had to do a 10-minute presentation for my networking group. It was my turn. This was like last year. And I threw on this shirt that had a red color on it. You couldn't see it on the Zoom call because it was kind of like a 3-tiered shirt or whatever, and the bottom was what was red. But just out of habit, I threw on my red lipstick. I mean, I have a very, very bright red lipstick. Threw that joker on. I mean, everybody in the chat blew up with, holy cow, look at your lips. Whoa, your lips are popping today, that kind of stuff. Do you think they remembered what I talked about? I don't know. But do you think they remembered me?
They remembered your lips.
Right. They remembered my lipstick. They remembered how I looked. And that, I mean, I need that. Like, I need you to remember me. And if it means big lipstick, big red lipstick, that's totally fine.
Right, right. So everybody should have a signature. You should have a signature, especially if you are doing a Facebook Live or you're doing something in your group, whatever the case may be, because you are it. Now, this is maybe not the same when you are sitting on a Zoom call for your day job or whatever, but it still is your signature and it shows that you do care. So what I'm hearing you say is you should be yourself, but it will change. It will change with what you're wearing. So it's not just have one color lipstick, one color.
I mean, you can, if you only buy one tube of lipstick, buy something that's got a little bit of color in it and move on. This is a pretty neutral color, and it's one of my favorites. I have two of these. I leave one in my purse and then I have one up here because I can put this on with anything and be fine. Now, I can't do that with red. I can't do that with, I have some darker kind of purpley colors just because sometimes that just doesn't work, But if you're just buying like one thing, stick with a good neutral and just put it on. You would be so surprised at how different you look on these calls when you're not kind of washed out.
Right, because that does tend to happen. I noticed that with myself. I ended up, my foundation wasn't even right. And then I realized it was not only the foundation, it was the lighting, it was the combination of the things.
Yeah. Foundation is, if you are a foundation person, like the company that I work for, they have, it's more of like just one kind of thing. We do have powders and that kind of stuff that they've brought in by popular demand, but primarily it's just this kind of, I don't know, it's like a cream. It's really kind of thicker too, but it's full coverage. You could go a little bit, you could go a lot, you could go less, however you can mix it with, like your moisturizer, your sunscreen, and kind of thin it out. But it's one of those things that you can tell when people have it on, and you can tell the response that people get, just evening out your skin tones, maybe because you have rosacea, or maybe because you have, some freckles, or maybe you have, heaven forbid, like you have a big old pimple that pops up that morning. Like, it's real easy for you to throw on some foundation and kind of cover it, especially in this world, because it doesn't show as much when you cover a blemish or something on here. it looks like it's really covered. Whereas like in person, you might could kind of see through it a little bit, or maybe it starts to wear off or whatever, but you can kind of get away with that on a Zoom call.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And it is, I mean, that's your, literally the foundation, but if your foundation is not right, you know, you've seen it where, you know, when people have the lines, like you've got to make sure that it all fits in. So, so if you had to give the best advice you could for our audience in preparation for a Zoom call, a video call, to do a live demonstration, I mean, you're on stage. What would that advice be?
So you're asking me if somebody wants to if they're going to get on a live and do some kind of presentation.
Sure. Let's go that way. Yep.
Okay. So, I mean, my advice to them would be to plan ahead. To play with the lighting, to play with the way Zoom looks. You can log on to a Zoom call all by yourself. Even if you don't, you can create an account and get a free 30 minutes all by yourself. And you can just sit there and play with it. And you can play with the sound, you can play with the filters, you can play with the lighting, you can play with how your makeup looks, how you want to do it. You know, maybe you don't want to go big or go home. You know, maybe you just want a little something, you know, so you just want to see what that looks like, because putting on a little bit of makeup to go to a soccer game is going to look different than putting on a little bit of makeup to go to a Zoom call, because it's not going to translate the same.
Yeah. So you really and truly, the planning is very crucial. And I do that. I use the Zoom all the time. I mean, it's it's ideal. It's ideal. So take the time and plan, adjust the lighting. I'm hearing this 4-letter word is planning. It's not, like I said, it's not the same old of what you've done. And even on a Zoom call, it's going to be different. Because if you are an observer, it's different than if you are the person that's actually doing the presentation. But
you want to stick out, but you don't want to be a distraction. And that's what I tell people all the time. You know, think about your movements. You know, I'm in a spinny chair, so if it's my turn to talk and I'm sitting here doing this the whole time, you are like, would you please be still? Like you're distracted by that. Okay.
Right.
So if I'm I don't know, in my vehicle because I got a meeting to go to, so I'm just going to hop on this Zoom call with you guys. Well, first off, you showed me that I'm not that important, okay? But secondly, you're in a car and I can see trees and motion, and then you start to talk and it goes because you're lost signal or whatever. That's not planning ahead. Like, you did not plan to be on a call with me. You just plan to drive, and then you're like, oh, I can squeeze this in. And that is like the worst. So planning your time, planning your location, planning what you're going to wear. I thought about what I was going to wear today because I have this huge sunburn on my neck. So I was like, I don't want it to be a distraction. So I wore a higher collar shirt.
Right.
Okay. Because I didn't want to sit here the whole time. And yesterday I had another shirt on and you could just see a little tiny bit of it. Nobody saw it. Nobody cared. But I did. I knew it was there. And I was all like, oh, I'm not going to do that if I'm going to be in front of people. Like, I got to make sure.
That affects your confidence. I do want to touch on one other thing before we're just getting ready to wrap up here. But the one thing you said was about distractions and a little bit about maybe what's behind you. Do you want to just share? Because I know I've been guilty of this. Just kind of like looking at trying to read what's behind him. You want to just share a little bit about what your background should look like?
Yeah, absolutely. So I have friends that like you have a banner, or they have something like maybe when they used to go out and do shows and that kind of thing, or they used to go, to demonstrate kind of whatever their products are, or whatever. Maybe they had a tablecloth or something, and they'll hang that up behind them, and I'm like, well, that looks kind of cool. You can kind of see that. Some people do the virtual backgrounds. It's fine. But the thing that you want to make sure you don't have, in my opinion, it may be, it may be, I don't know, maybe it's just my tickiness, but like when people have like the wall of pictures behind them, or the wall of motivational things, because you're in their office, right? The whole time I'm like, move over. What does that say? Can I zoom in? No, I can't do that. this is not my phone. Like, you know, like the whole time you're distracted by what's being said. And sometimes, you know, the camera will flip the words. So then it's backwards. Like I think mine does too. So see how you can't even read this right now? Mm-hmm. So it's like, that's more of a distraction because now I can't read what's going on because it's backwards. Right. So now I'm trying to figure it out. You know, if those are things that are important to you, don't make them be distractions to other people. Share them with people in a different platform, but not behind your head in a Zoom call when right. you want them to hear what you have to say.
So it's a combination when it comes to your makeup, if you will. More is better. And when it comes to stuff behind you, less is better, right?
That's right.
So Megan, you've given some outstanding tips and helped me a ton. You've inspired me. I've got a stand-up desk now, so I use that. I'm still only 5 foot tall, but you know,
everything.
Hey, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? But so if someone wants some additional tips with their makeup and I know you've got a great group. How does someone reach out to you? What's the best way for them to get in touch?
Well, I'm on Facebook. This is my name, clearly, Megan Louderback. It's a mouthful. I also have a Facebook group. It's private, so you kind of have to be invited. I don't just leave it out there for everybody to search for. I do a lot of multi-vendor parties, so I tend to kind of share my website and that kind of thing on those links. So, you know, I guess, are you going to have that listed in your...
Yes, we will. There will be notes that'll go along with it. But I would say the best way is to reach out to you. But now there's something, because this helped me a ton when it came to foundation, because I think buying foundation is one of the hardest things. And now, and I've gone through a lot of different things having been in this industry for so long, but do you have an offer that you can help somebody with to select the right foundation?
So if you reach out to me and you want to know about foundation, you want to know about colors, those types of things, I actually have a couple of quizzes. One is specifically for foundation, and basically you just kind of take it and it tells you what color on our kind of color palette that would work for you. So once you get to that point, then you reach out to me and you're like, hey, this is my color. We'll set you up an account. You order it. You have 30 days to try this product out to see if you like it, or you'll get a full refund. So that's always, like, especially in skincare and in makeup, it's always hard to like leave your comfort zone and try something new because you just don't know. And one of the things that is really great about the foundation that I sell is it rests on top of your skin. So it's, you know, it's made with like beeswax and some ingredients that kind of rest on top. So it doesn't fill in your pores, doesn't clog your skin. And so that also helps with like your Zoom, that kind of stuff. So once we do the quiz, once we get you some foundation, I can also do a Zoom call, do a one-to-one, we'll do a consultation. We'll talk about color palettes, we'll talk about lipstick colors, we'll talk about what you already have and what you just need to supplement. Maybe your makeup is fine. Maybe you just need to start with some basic skincare because you sleep in your makeup all the time, and you know my mama would come to your house and tell you that's not right because she taught me that.
That's absolutely right. But well, you offer a lot of services, and I thank you for sharing your great advice with our audience, because you know I know we're going face to face again in the near future, but I also know that this is the wave of the future, and for a network marketer, you've got to look the part. Even if you're not selling skincare and foundation, you're a professional and you want to look that way. And the lighting tips that you shared, if you want to change your color palettes, but regardless, it's not flip a switch anymore. So I want to thank you, Megan. I want to thank our audience for listening in. Please reach out to Megan Louderback. She will answer any questions for you, and hope to see you in our group, the Network Marketers Den, where we're going to share lots of tips. And if there's anything that you want to learn more about, please reach out to me, let me know, and we'll find you that subject matter expert. So until next time, thanks everybody. Thank you so much, Megan. You take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.